Hello, here are some spontaneous thoughts about the difference between buying an old grand piano and the modern grand piano, or uprights for that matter. Recently somebody contacted us and they were concerned about buying an older piano and had more confidence in buying a modern one. So let's just have a look at the differences. First point I want to make is that I'd never have a modern piano in my house, never have had actually, except for the odd upright when I first started out. But grand pianos always had restored German pianos, I think exclusively, and the Austrian Bösendorfer, because as a piano tuner I really appreciate the underlying tone of the piano. Now of course as a pianist you want to get really accurate action, and I know that's the most important thing, so we do particularly work very hard to try and get the action as even as possible. Now before listening to both pianos, it's really important to the tuning pin tightness. I think that's the main difference technically that you need to be concerned about. Tuning pin tightness, as pins have been turned up and down. This one has tight tuning pins, but not as tight as a brand new one. So location of the piano is obviously important. If this normally this would not create any problem, and obviously we're guaranteeing a piano for 5 years. This piano is for sale. It's been in my house for a long time. I've really enjoyed it. Well, 3 months, not very long, and really enjoyed it. It's sad to part with it, but I have got a piano coming in that needs hammers playing in. We just changed the hammers on it, so that's a Richard Lipp, one of my preferred makes as well. So basically the tuning pin tightness is so important, and on older pianos they can be loose. So these are not as tight as a brand new piano, but if you play it in a normal environment that won't be a problem. If you've got underfloor heating, I would definitely either replace the rest plank here underneath here with a modern rest plank, and even so with underfloor heating you need to really humidify the room. It's really important. But if you've got normal heating and you've got sensible conditions, then there's no reason why I should buy an older piano. And this one, well, I've got a video of this one, so I'll not look at that anymore. The other one I'll compare it with is a Yamaha C7, just to see which of the two, similar priced really, second-hand C7, and this Steinway, which is slightly less expensive, but it's been repolished. Anyway, there's a video of this piano. The main thing is to listen to the tone of it. So hopefully you better compare the two. So I'll try and put some jump links at the bottom to compare them. So mid-tone, we've said many times, this is the most important area here. So let's listen to this one. And of course the touch is really important. So just looking at the worksheet here, we've got video on this piano. So the touch here, you've seen it's varied. So 44 is a bit low for middle C, 58 is too high for that F sharp. Needs lubricating, adjusting the key weight possibly after lubrication, a little bit of brightening up the treble. But mechanically there's absolutely no reason why you should choose modern piano over this one, because we will get the touch even. And you'll notice when we look at the Yamaha, it's a second-hand Yamaha, so the touch on that is perhaps about the same amount of unevenness as this one. They're both very well regulated. We just need to even up the touch, so when you play really quietly you can be sure of a good response. So going back to the tone of it, the mid-treble again. Let's say the tenor area is the next most important area. Well, I went into the bass there as well. Let's do the bottom bass. Now this is only a 6-foot piano, 5'10" and a half. The Yamaha is going to be a longer piano, so it will have a better bass. So obviously the longer piano the better. But this has a very rich sound. Top treble, it's very even throughout. So in those days when this was made, 1907, many more people in the trade, a lot more of the budget household income was spent on pianos, so very high quality. That's why you can't really beat these older pianos in terms of tone. Well, I have some playing of this with both hands later on, so I hope that's been helpful. I will play the Yamaha as well and try and put links so you compare the two. This is a Yamaha C7, made in 1982, 225 centimeters long, so it's a much longer piano, so you expect a richer tone in many respects. But just want to compare it, and before we do that, we'll look at the touch first, because I know musicians, that's what you're really concerned about. So you'll see that the touch weighting here, that's 58, that's much higher than it should be. And if you look back at I'll do a link so you can look back at the Steinway, you'll find that actually this is a lot heavier. Now you may want a heavier touch, but this should 60 is far too heavy. 56 is just about acceptable, and a concert pianist might like to have it that instead of 50, which is normal for C. Strengthen your fingers a bit. Certainly we had a concert pianist who came regularly from the USA over to Oxford, and he would have a heavy piano hired here because he had a lighter piano at home in the USA. So 65 grams is a bit high here too, you see, so we really want that to go down to 52, and this 50 and that 48, so there's quite a lot of lubrication to do there, which is what we got written here. I think we've done some of the work, but not all of it yet, so we're always having to work on pianos, obviously. So this is imported from Japan. I won't talk too much, I've got another video about this piano. Let's have a listen to it and see if we can compare the tone of the two. So starting off in the mid-treble. That's very exacting tone. Not got the rich. If you're a tuner, you notice all the richness of the overtones of. It hasn't got the depth of sound here either. I'm not doing a comprehensive video here. I try to mention things on each video, just a few points on each one, so if you're used to listening to them, hopefully I'm making them interesting enough to listen to each time, putting new points on them. Now of course the bass here is going to be much richer, it's much longer strings, much longer strings. So a very pleasant piano, very pleasant to play, but much plainer sound. So in my house, because I'm a tuner, and I think if you're a tuner you might like to comment, I prefer to have a piano that has a richer tone. Now if you're an occasional player, I'd recommend definitely an older piano. If you're a serious pianist and you want to practice, then obviously we have to get the older piano touch as good as the modern piano touch, which is our challenge, and I think we do. Certainly the Steinway at home is very sensitive, and I shall be perfecting it even more before it goes out. So I hope that's helpful. Just a quick thought about tuning pins. Now I said that older pianos may develop loose tuning pins, but so may modern ones. I always try to encourage tuners, or we're trying to encourage tuners to keep the piano, if you're going to pitch raise it to 442 and let it drop gradually, then you've got to turn the pins less. Most pianists, or old pianists practically, are happy with 442 dropping down to 440. Flat pianos we don't accept, so it's always got to be either 440 or 442. The concert venue I used to tune regularly in Portsmouth, we kept it at 442 normally and would let it drop down, but foreign orchestras in those days, this was in the 80s, often requested 444, but we wouldn't alter it all the time because that wasn't good for the piano. Steinway's actually had a directive not to do that, which we totally agreed with. So I hope that's been helpful. This is a modern Yamaha. There's another video of this as well. So difference between modern and older pianos, the tone. Let's just go back to the main difference for me. It's just the tone round here. It's much more interesting on a modern piano. Perfectly acceptable on this one. Sorry, much more interesting on an old piano, I meant to say. Now, of course, the top quality modern piano, top quality Steinway, top quality Bösendorfer, even top quality Yamaha, are obviously much more richer in tone, and it's difficult to choose sometimes. I do like those, but as a tuner, you still sense the underlying tone of the old ones, much richer, much warmer. If you're a tuner, please do comment. Lovely bass here, obviously, because it's a nice long piano. I would recommend a long piano if you can have got the space. Thank you very much for listening.